And we've seen your two new faxes, which are cover sheets for your counter affidavit.
Yeah, for faxing them out into all the civil offices that you want to send into.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would imagine we may want to tailor a tiny bit, at least the addresses.
Yeah, you've got to change the addresses, okay, but that's just a template, okay?
Right.
Basically, you can change it around however you want to, but basically this is my understanding of what I see it as. And basically, I don't know whether everybody's got a copy of that. They should look at the one that has the affidavit template, the fax affidavit template, okay?
Yes.
There's a slight change in the one that goes to the Secret Service because the Secret Service was supposed to be responsible. They were set up in 1865 to prevent counterfeiting or to combat counterfeiting when called upon.
Right.
Okay. So, and so we need to address the difference there in that we're calling upon, in a way, the Secret Service to fulfill their obligation of preventing counterfeiting. But we had to address the whole thing, and the whole thing is that 14th Amendment was all about allowing the government to counterfeit itself. And that's what they did in 1871 then, was the 14th Amendment was signed in 1868, and then in 1871, they counterfeited themselves as a counterfeit government. Okay, not under a Constitution, but strictly under the 14th Amendment. See, the 14th Amendment was a counterfeiting amendment. Now, the night before, basically, it allowed the American citizens to expatriate away from being counterfeited. So when you read through that and see this is separation of church and state. The church is the false religion of belief, the public counterfeited and copyrighted United States government, the all capital. And that was per the 1871 English Bar Incorporated, copyrighted United States of America, and by the false coded laws and pledges to deceptively control the recorded U.S. citizens. Okay, they got you to record yourself as a U.S. citizen, vice being an American citizen. And the state is the state of free men, or we the people, per the original Article of Confederation, 1878, or 1778. Article 1 shows the style of that it is supposed to be the United States of America, all capital. That's our nation. And then Article 4, Section 1, and you ought to read Section 1, 2, and 3. In Article 4, Section 1, basically, is for the protection of the free citizens. So that was all the way back in 1778. And then when you look at the other Article 4, Section 3, full faith and credit shall be given in each of these states to the records, acts, and judicial proceedings of the courts and magistrates of every other state. The judicial proceedings of the court, okay, basically per the 11th Amendment of the Constitution, the court of equity was given back to the people. So the full faith and credit is ours per our judicial proceedings of our court of equity. I hope you understand what's going on here. And then you have to confess your past mistakes by revoking all undersignings to the counterfeit, deceptive contracts and purging yourself of all pledges and oaths to all counterfeit governments. Then the question arises, okay? When you address this, the question is now, what is your guilty office of counterfeiting going to do? Because you can't cast any further stones of harm against me. This is right out of the Bible when Jesus was sitting there talking about the prostitute. The prostitute was basically the counterfeit. Contract, pledge, whatever. And Jesus said, okay, if you are free of sin, you can cast the first stone. But see, they're not free of sin. They're guilty as hell. It's just that people don't know how to stand up to these people in charging them of also being guilty. If a court is guilty, how can they send someone who is also guilty to jail? They can't. It's all a fraud. And like I've been trying to tell you guys, it's all based upon the laws that are laid out in the Bible. The Bible is not a religious book. It's a book of laws. And it talks about the deceivers and everything else in there, just like what we have right now. And they have 3 days to rebut our truth, because our affidavit now stands as our truth. And if they don't rebut it in 3 days, then it is accepted as the truth. And now they are obligated to purge all of the counterfeit records against our accounts. Because we've purged ourselves, now they have to purge their records. And since every man, woman, basically out here, has dual sexualities, okay, the capability of basically having the one is more prevalent than the other, well then the American spirit of vengeance we put forth from the female side, because the female side is the one that is the most vindictive of the two. And we will go against these guys. Just like in the movie V. When the public finally starts standing up, the people start standing up, then the government has to give in. There is more of us than there are of them. Yeah, they've tried to increase their numbers and everything, but when the people finally wake up, even that are in government, they will start backing down. But it just gets me. Even in my own family, that people claim to be Bible thumpers, and they don't even understand the simplicity of what I have here in this facts, stating something that comes right out of the New Testament. But yet it's all throughout the Old Testament too. So I'm not going to go into it too much more than that. Just read over those faxes, take a look at them. Okay, so now it's open for discussion.
I'm noticing the facts here that the banker is using the PMB, but that in the affidavit, we're
whatever
using...
you want to do, Tom. Okay.
EIN. We're using the phone grantor trust.
Just make it however you want to do it. Okay.
Okay.
Like I told you, even on your seals. Okay. Any seal will do as long as you claim it's yours. Okay. As long as you understand what you're doing, put down what you want to do. Okay. You're an individual. Okay. I just gave you a template. It doesn't have to be the same as mine, okay?
Okay. I was wondering if it maybe we use the PMB for the bank.
I am not perfect. I am not perfect, so stop trying to follow in my shoes, okay?
Okay.
I'm just giving you a format, okay, a path. You can walk right-footed first and then left foot. If I'm down here walking left foot first and then right foot, you don't have to do the same thing that I'm doing, okay? But as long as you get to the end of the road, that's all that I'm concerned with.
Okay.
That's the same thing that Jesus was concerned about. He tried to show you the way and the path. He didn't say you have to walk in my exact footsteps to get there.
Hey, Patrick.
See, that's the misnomer that a lot of people have. Okay? Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I was listening to last night's call, and you got cut off. Right before you got cut off, you were starting to say something about claim stuff. It was after the OIDs. Do you remember what it was?
Well, you claim all your receipts. Okay?
Yeah. No, I know that, but I thought it was something different you wanted to
I can't recall.
Yeah, because you got your phone fell out. All right, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, basically the OID is to recuperate all of the stuff that you have paid out of your back pocket. Okay? Or,
right, and the bill of exchange, the new one that you posted, you have, if you don't have a 98, you can use your estate EIN number for some people?
Yes.
Okay, that's it. Just want to reiterate that.
Yeah, and if you don't have your estate EIN or your foreign grantor trust EIN, don't let that stop you from doing that affidavit, okay?
Right.
Modify it appropriately for your situation that you're in right now.
Right.
You can always change it later.
Right. We have to tweak it to our own needs individually.
Right.
Hey, did you get any basket this month?
What?
Did you get a basket this month?
I still didn't hear you.
Did you get a delivery this month?
Oh, yes. Thank
okay,
you.
good. Just wanted to know. All right, no, don't say another word.
I got wrapped up, and then I forgot all about calling
Nope.
you and telling you.
No
I
problem.
got it. Okay, sorry
All right,
about that.
No problem. I just wanted to make
Okay.
sure it got delivered.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to work on the OIDs and perfect it before I start sharing my information.
Yeah.
And we
But
have
I
till
think
the end of this month.
Yeah. I think it's the end of this month, but don't let that stop you. Go ahead and put more in, okay?
What if I can do it after? I mean, if I'm waiting for some 1099s OID to come in the mail. So
well,
I can
don't wait on them, okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Take
Print it out.
take what is on the website and go ahead and print those out and send them in, okay?
All right.
Yeah.
I'll do more.
It says that if you use these, you may be penalized $50. It doesn't say you will be penalized $50. It says you may be. Yeah, big difference.
Yeah. Okay.
And see, these are going into that Austin office, which more than likely in that Austin office, they're going to be doing most of this stuff by hand.
I think last night when Patrick got cut off, he was talking about sales tax, putting that down as withholding and using some kind of a sales tax claim form.
I think that's right. I think that's what he was getting into.
Yeah.
Patrick, I got a 1099 question.
Okay.
This is Jeff in Idaho. Hey, we got, from when I worked last year, I had a couple small little payrolls, but I got about 4 1099s from work that I did for different people. Would I just take that in the same process, use a 1099-C to cancel that, and then process these things through?
No, anything that they withheld from you on a W-2 form, okay, you turn around and claim that back with the 1099 OID.
Right. But if they just did me as a contractor and just reporting X amount of dollars on a 1099, I wouldn't use a 1099-C to cancel that and then OID that now, would I, since I already cashed the checks?
Yeah, if they didn't withhold anything from you, it's a transaction. They paid you.
Right. And I used the lawful green seal stamp on about 90% of my checks on the back and on the front of every check. A couple of them, you can't always do all of them because of when you're cashing them and how you're cashing them, but 90% of the time I usually put that stamp we made up a couple years ago on all my checks.
Yeah, and basically, if anything, they turn around and they're trying to falsely claim that you had an income. You just turn around, you put that affidavit in there, and a statement to the IRS that this is tax exempt.
And then I also started using
the Articles Confederation, okay? Article 4, Section 1.
Okay. And a lot of times I started handing out.
Let's go over the Articles Confederation, Section 1, or Article 4, Section 1. Okay? The better to secure and perpetrate mutual friendship and intercourse among the people of the different states in the Union. The free inhabitants of each state, of these states, paupers, vagabonds, and fugitives from justice accepted. okay, shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of free citizens in the several states. The people of each state shall have free egress and regress, or ingress and regress, to and from any other state, and shall enjoy within all the privileges of trade and commerce, subject to the same duties, impositions, restrictions as the inhabitants thereof respectively, provided that no such restrictions shall not extend so far as to prevent the removal of property imported into any state to any other state of which the owner is an inhabitant, provided also that no imposition, duties, or restrictions shall be laid by any state on the property of the United States or either of them.
Okay.
Now, interpret. What the hell did it just say?
Well, I just pulled it up as you were reading it, and I was trying to catch up with you, but it sure appears to me that I'm allowed to engage in commerce as I see fit.
Yes, and that they cannot tax you. They cannot put any imposition, duty, or restrictions upon your property.
And also that we have immunities. We can come and go
Yes.
as we please.
Okay.
Yeah, you need
How
to
about that?
really read those articles of Confederation. That's what really protects us, not the Constitution.
Okay. I don't get the last four words of either of them. I don't understand what that applies.
You've got to go back up there, and what were they talking about? They were talking
Provided
about
also
the people. They were talking about the people. Either the United States or the people.
Okay.
The state of man.
But paupers, vagabonds, and fugitives get a hard time.
Yes, they are exempted. Or
Accepted, right.
Yeah. From this statute or from this article. They are accepted. They're not. They're outside. But see, that's what they've tried to make you, is a criminal, okay? Because you are using a counterfeit instrument, and you have made pledges to a counterfeit government. And you have every right, per the amendment or per the statute that was passed the night before the 14th Amendment, known as the expatriation. You have every right to expatriate from a counterfeit government.
Yeah, I think I need to fill
that one right up the Secret Service's butt, because they said they've never seen anybody expatriate before, and I'm going to show them that I have expatriated.
Right.
And that I have every right to be able to expatriate.
And we can put that right in the facts, right?
I've got it at the very bottom line.
Okay.
My right to expatriate.
We need to send that off to the Social Security Commission, too.
If you want to, okay?
Well, I I got a letter from them when we were doing our revocations, and I got a letter back from them saying that pretty much I was an indentured slave, that I could not, that it was mandatory and I could not leave the system, and that the system was set up for taxes.
Yeah. That's all BS, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And see, you've got to come in there, and basically you can put this fax and just send that off to them using the same header. The Attorney General, the Secretary of State, Treasurer of the State, the Governor of the damn state, you name it, the IRS Commissioner, the Inspector General of the Treasury, the Attorney General of the country.
Throw in the DTC too?
No, I wouldn't go to the DTC, okay?
Okay.
Your court system, your sheriff, okay? Get it to the people that basically you're going to probably interface with. Start opening up their eyes, okay? Just like in the movie V, okay?
Is that the D for Vendetta?
Yes, the movie. Watch it.
And not the TV series, V.
Well, I don't know whether there was a TV series. I haven't watched TV in about 8-10 years.
Series about 20 years ago about invaders from space.
The aliens.
No.
Hey, Pat, I got the same letter back from the Social Security, and did you notice that nobody signed the letter? They just stamped their name on there?
Yep. When you get the letters back from the government, even the banks, nobody signs a name.
No, that's because they're all dead. No shit, they're all dead.
They're dead and invisible.
Yeah. And they're all counterfeits, okay? And you make this a written notice, okay? Just like on that one item that I had there. That this is an original written notice. And in fact, when you send that out, they are now under full obligation to that notice. Yeah, you can send this to your Supreme Court judge for your circuit. You can send this to the chief judge for your district. At the federal level, the chief judge, your Supreme Court judge for the state. Let them know that you're tired of their counterfeiting.
What about the Secret Service?
Yes, that's what I posted up there, was one strictly for the Secret Service. Because basically, the Secret Service is obligated, okay, let me read that, as the Secret Service was set up to prevent the counterfeiting of America. The question is now, what is your guilty office of responsibility going to do? As I have addressed the crime and purged myself of any further harm to me. Therefore, they cannot cast a stone against me. And that was what Jesus was doing, sitting in the temple when they brought the prostitute before him, the counterfeit document, and tried to get Jesus into basically violating the law. But yet, he said, yes, I'm guilty, but you are also guilty. So now the question arises, how can someone who is guilty charge someone else with guilt? when the other person has already admitted that he's guilty. See all these courts out here, these 14th Amendment courts, they're taking you into court on criminal charges. The criminal charge is really that you are a counterfeiter. That is a criminal charge. But they are guilty as hell too, because they're sitting there in a counterfeit position of government. In fact, they are really more guilty than you.
They generate more counterfeit documents than we do.
Well, basically, they are in there as a public servant, and then they are basically operating in a civil capacity, but as a counterfeit. And that is outright treason. That is essentially high treason, really. Because in most cases, they have tried to impose that you have to do counterfeiting to exist in their system. You don't.
Patrick, I got a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree with most of it. However, where do you take these folks? Because what you're saying is absolutely valid, that they are trying to get us to use their counterfeit forms so that we basically take away our own credibility. But once you discover the fraud, where do you take it? What court is not going to use counterfeit documents to administer justice?
Where do you want to take it?
Well, if we hold the highest court there is,
we hold the court of equity.
Then
the next court is civil court. You bring them into their lawful office, okay? They have to remove that bar pledge. Otherwise, they're going to jail.
So civil court can't have anyone who's a member of the bar in it.
That's right.
Wow.
And see, the bar was the 1871 English Bar Incorporated, copyrighted United States. That corporate United States that was set up as the counterfeit 14th Amendment government was set up by the English bar. That's why all these bar attorneys have, and half of the damn government has bar cards. Because they're all part of the copyrighted and incorporated United States of America.
So they are foreign agents.
Yes, and they're counterfeit. They're not the de jure Constitution civil office holders. And see, when you allege the overt conspiracy of counterfeiting and that they are depriving you the conspiracy of defrauding you, they will run like mad. You just turn the light on. And what do the vampires do when the light shines? They run like hell or they get disintegrated. What happened in the movie V? What happened to the military? When the people all came in force. There's more people in this country than there are officials, okay? Out here. When the people start standing up to these people, okay? Like in the county I'm in, okay? 1,500 or 15,000 people, okay? I'm one of the smaller counties here in the state of Iowa, population-wise. How many law enforcement officers are there in this county? Probably about 30, maybe 40, counting the police and the sheriff's department. That's it. 15,000 people to 40. I think the people could take control of those guys.
Yeah, that's 0.2%.
It's in numbers that you're able to gain control. This word has to be spread. Very simply. You have to do an affidavit. Then you have to stand up. Get this thing out to them. Put it on the record. You have your fax record that you have sent this to them. And if they have not rebutted it within 3 days' time, then it stands as truth, and they have accepted it. And that will stand up in any court of law. You have to believe in yourself in this process. When you gain the knowledge and understanding, you are starting to believe in yourself. And stop believing in a counterfeit, false system out there. Thinking that they have the power. No, we have the power. That too many people in this country are just chicken shits and afraid to bring their power forward. We don't abuse the power, that basically we will enforce the power that we have, our rights. And we can do it peacefully. Okay, any other questions?
I noticed that you're undersigning on the affidavit. We can oversign it as well if we want, right?
Whatever you want to do, Tom.
Okay.
not really undersigning. You are just signing.
Okay.
Okay? An undersigning only really applies to an insurance policy.
Okay.
Yes, read the definition
when you were
on undersigning.
Right. Well, undersigning is different than underwriting. Okay.
Well, in a sense, they're basically pretty much both doing the same thing.
Well, yeah, but underwriting is actually a financial transaction.
Yes, and basically underwriting and undersigning are both doing a financial transaction.
Yeah, right.
Okay?
Patrick, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You're using the 1099s as a private American banker. You have the address for Austin, Texas, where you send the Form 56F.
Yep.
You have that as P.O. Box 934, and the zip is 78767. Yet, for the rest of these where you send the 1099s, you have it Austin, Texas, with a different zip.
Right.
So they are two different zip codes, two different addresses for these things?
Yep.
Ah, okay.
Now, basically, if you go into the website, IRS website, and you look up where it says to send forms that begin with 5, you'll find that Austin address to send the Form 56F to.
Okay.
But I would also send a copy of that Form 56F to the other office, IRS office there in Austin, Texas, when you send your first Form 1099 OID into them. Okay? Along with possibly your affidavit, okay?
Right.
So that you establish that you are a foreigner. You are not a citizen of the corporate United States. That's why we're sending this stuff into that other Austin address.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And basically, if you get anything from the IRS, you turn around and you send them either a copy of this fax. I would use this fax and then also send them a copy of your affidavit. And tell them to back the hell off, that they have no jurisdiction over you. You are outside their counterfeit system.
Okay.
And do not do any 1040s or 1041s or any other IRS document that basically has under penalty of perjury. Once you have purged yourself of all your oaths and everything, do not get back into their system of falsely implying that you have given an oath to them. And that's what that penalty of perjury is all about. You are essentially saying that you're still under the pledge that you made to the corporate United States of America, or the United States of America, whatever, the copyrighted one, the counterfeit. See, that's what they try and do every year. You're going in and you're reiterating your pledge to them by signing it under penalty of perjury. A living man that stands by the truth is not under any penalty of perjury. The truth cannot be perjured. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah. Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
Trying to find where some evidence or proof where bar card carrying attorneys aren't allowed into civil court.
Well, look hard and you'll find it.
Yeah.
Basically, they were banned out of the court system, okay? You can go back into history, and basically anybody that was a bar attorney or an attorney that basically was working for the banks. Hell, North Carolina had it posted on their damn signs coming into North Carolina. Any bank, basically a banker's attorney, and that's what a bar attorney is, a banker's attorney, was to be hung on sight.
Those are fairly recent signs, weren't they?
Well, they were prior to the Articles of Confederation and everything out there in the colonies.
Okay.
I
think someone has resurrected. I think someone has resurrected that because I've seen photos of signs like that.
Yeah. Any banker, attorney, representative, okay? And see, that's what they were. The whole thing about this was that in 1820, there was a guy that wrote a story. It was known as The Devil and Daniel Webster. 1820. And what it was doing was talking about getting something for nothing. Social Security is a something for nothing insurance item. But you're not getting something for nothing. And then if you watch the movie Something for Nothing, 2004, I think it is, okay, a remake of the movie Devil and Daniel Webster. Everybody in 1947 and this latest movie, everybody in the jury box, the judge and everything, was all dead. Now, how can the dead judge someone who is living? They can't. And the dead is always supposed to support the living because the dead has been placed back into the ground, and the ground always has to support what is above the ground, and the living are above the ground. That's just common sense. And basically, right and wrong is common sense. You know what is right and what is wrong if you have any common sense whatsoever. And you have a right of inheritance of what came up out of the ground for your benefit. That is per the law of ages out here. And that goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. That one of the first things that was granted was that basically the earth was to be our possession. Not just to Adam and Eve. And see, they tried to go for something for nothing by eating off of that wrong tree. So they got into a contract with the bankers way back then. Kane figured it out, and he got out of the system. But you got to be able to interpret the Bible for what it really is. Okay. Any other questions?
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
Steplo. I don't have a question. I just got on. Is it almost over?
What?
Yes? Do you have a question?
Sorry, I guess my computer.
Hey, well, this is almost like a mission impossible because we have to accept the mission to go all the way with this. We have a way, you guys, of getting this country back by exposing this. It's going to start off slow, but it's got to snowball.
Yes.
Yeah. And basically, you just got to pass that affidavit around to your family members and start getting them to start thinking about this. I get so sick and tired of listening to my family members sit around and bitch about politics and everything, and they have no idea of what's really going on. But just put it out there. Say, hey, you might want to read this. Then if they start reading it, maybe it will start something in their mind clicking. Especially when you start looking at the Articles of Confederation instead of a Constitution. And now
the whole American people.
A lot of people don't realize that the Articles of Confederation never went away. They're still there.
Go up on the, I think the Library of Congress website, they say that the Constitution replaced the Articles of Confederation. There are a number of people who believe that.
Yeah, and it's not true.
Not true.
They were two different documents entirely.
Patrick, on your American counter affidavit,
Yeah.
down at the bottom, you have by the indemnifier, and then under the blank it says the secret U.S. bankrupt. Oh, who signs that? What's that signature?
That is your person that's on your Social Security card.
Oh, okay. And so the indemnified then is my regular signature.
The indemnified is like your name without Mr. or Mrs. in front of it, as it appears on your Social Security card. Now, when you sign as that you are the indemnified person, okay, you put Mr. or Mrs. in front of your name. See, the dead cannot have a title. You have to have a title. And basically, when you came of age, you either became a Mr. or Mrs. or Miss.
Okay.
See, that's what they tried to take away in the 13th Amendment. The bankers tried to take away our right of title of nobility, our American title of nobility, of either being a master, a chief, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the Supreme Court had to get rid of that 13th Amendment because it was in violation of the law. But see, everybody doesn't understand what that 13th Amendment was really being perpetrated because they already had addressed about the other titles of nobility coming in from foreign countries into America. But what the 13th Amendment was trying to do was take our God-given rights to a title of nobility.
Let's go.
Yes? Someone spoke up? Guess not.
Okay, go ahead and end it, Tom. We'll talk to you next week, maybe.
Okay. No more questions, guys, so we'll finish it up. Thank you very much, Patrick.
Okay, talk to you guys later.
We all need to get to this. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Hey, good night, everybody.
Hey, anybody left on this call?
Hello.
Hey, who's left on here?
Just you and me, Tom.
Hey, what's going on, Marshall? There's some other people listed.
Yeah, I know there is, but we're not talking. I thought maybe Tom Weidler was going to come back on, but I didn't hear him come back on.
Well, it's still being recorded. So when you send me the recording tomorrow, it'll have this part on there still.
Okay.
It was a really good call. I mean, his point about sending and getting your 56 form in is and your EIN number and your foreign grantor's trust number.
Yeah, it all plays into it.
Well, actually, if you send off that form and your affidavit to the college, I think the thing that, he was talking about the guilty and the guilty. I mean, if you show them some law cases where people from the private have won, they start getting a little bit more, I better actually listen to what, or, heed what's on this affidavit.
Right. Why don't I just call you regularly? We'll get off this call since nobody else is talking.
All right, sounds good. I'll talk to you later.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.